In fact, I was just listening to Kimberly and Franco's today because I shared the post.
I saw that you shared that. I can't wait to look back at it.
Yeah, it's a really there's let me turn this down. There's God dang it, how do you turn this damn thing down? I just turned it down, it made a noise. Oh well. So there's like we're already live. Let me just put on the thing. It's gonna take a couple of minutes. So there is there's let me try to think. There was we did a show September 21st. No, that wouldn't have been it. So we did a show we haven't put it wasn't even a show, we were having a private conversation. More myself and Franco. And it was about 10 days. It was about mid-September, right? So we'd only done, I think, one show after Soulogy Fest because they were in flux.
Yeah.
And then we did it. Then we did a show like probably like say late August, and then we did one. Then we met, and we did this. We were just going to talk, which we never did. We never really hardly did that. If we did, it was with Morgan and or Kimberly. And so we get like 5 minutes into the conversation, and we both said, "Hey, why don't we record this?"
Okay.
Just for some reason,
Okay.
So we recorded this hour and a half, 2 hour conversation, and Kimberly's is digging it up, and we're gonna put it out there. And then,
Nice.
but I was gonna say that conversation and the one with Kimberly, you're like, you see a little bit of different. You see a different Franco, a little
Okay.
bit different, like
Yeah.
almost like the inner child Franco.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still got a few minutes to go. We're on Zoom today. The wizard's in the house, and the fairy, the wizard and the fairy are in the house. we had oh man, I this migraine thing is.
Oh,
Oh, you got a migraine.
Let's blast
All right.
Todd
and
right now.
it's on the right side of your head.
No, it's not on the right side of my head. And I know it's not a migraine. I've never had migraines, but I've had this happen like 3 times. And it's from the inside of my head, and like somebody's pushing out.
Oh, inflammation.
It could be inflammation.
Yeah. Let me just remove the inflammation here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Or are my ears ringing?
Well, it's got to go somewhere.
And turmeric.
Mm-hmm.
What was I telling you? I forgot.
Well, you talking about Franco and
Yeah, but I was yeah. Oh, we had Jim and Miller was on a couple days ago.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big Jim was on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, big teddy bear, Jim.
Yeah. He started talking about the wizard. You know Ty. You know Ty, don't you? I'm like, yeah, I know him a little bit.
Uh-oh.
No, but and I knew when I met Jim at the Soulogy Fest, I knew because he spoke. Number one, we asked people to come up and speak, and I talked to him a bit before, during, and after, I guess. And so I knew that he was, by his own admission or whatever that means, recently awakened. Like that was his part of his story. But what he talked about on the show, he didn't talk about at Soulogy Fest, which was this whole series of events up to Soulogy Fest and shortly thereafter, which were just mind blowing. You know, the story about the white donkey coming down from the mountain, going through all these people, like Moses going through the Red Sea right to him and putting its head on his,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he started talking about Ty, and he was very fluid. And he was very knowledgeable, and you could tell that he's absorbed a great deal of what you've gone over with him.
But when people are ready,
yeah,
that's what happens. And that's the thing. We can't force this. This is such a personal journey. We're just here when people are ready at whatever step. And so he's a beautiful example of someone who's just ready to step into his sovereignty.
Yeah.
Take a look at that what we call the shadow work, which is just looking at our emotions and why they're there and what's the purpose and how can we pass through them.
Well, it helps if you're married to a wizard or a fairy.
It does.
You guys got that part.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Everyone needs to know they're very personal friends of mine. So it's a little bit different jumping on here and just not having a normal conversation, which is what we try to do anyway. But, Morgan got the download in November that couples were supposed to come on with no expectation, just not even like, oh, and you need to ask them this and that. Just kind of an understanding that whatever their experience offers and the way they retell it, that there's code in it. We all know how this works, but it's been pretty interesting. There's been some interesting stuff going on. Like the couple yesterday, they met in first grade, and then she moved away, and then they went to high school together, and she was unknowingly to her his idol because she was such a outcast. He thought in his words, I thought I was the most outcast of the outcast, and then I saw her, and she had me beat, and so then they ended up meeting 7 years ago.
Nice.
On Facebook, and they're both coming out of relationships, and they live 5 blocks from each other.
Oh, wow.
Now they're living in a caravan and contemplating why they just got rid of all their stuff, and what they have left is in a 5x5 storage facility that they feel like is too much too. So lots of crazy stuff like that going on. So I of course I know a little bit about how you guys hooked up, which is actually pretty cool. It was actually a great story. So I don't know if you want to just jump into that. How y'all met, because it's quite
well, I think that anyone that's been to Sedona comprehends how special of a place this is, not only for its vast beauty, that's just so unique in this country, but the energies that are here. It's well known for the energies, the vortices that exist here. So Ty and I each got the calling to come here, but we didn't know each other yet. So us meeting and then us also stepping into this new life in Sedona is parallel with one another. And I knew that I was ready to leave where I was living at the time in Illinois. And so I moved out here at the very end of 2014. I moved to Arizona at the very end of 2014. And then I'm knowing that I was always going to migrate up to Sedona. And it took me another year to get up to Sedona. And I arrived here in November of 2015. And Ty arrived
July of 2014.
Right. So we both moved from the state that we were to Arizona in 2014. So, and this was without knowing each other. So completely individual, separate paths, following our intuition. And then within the first year of living here, we had mutual friends already. And they approached me and said, every time I talk to you, you remind me of this guy, Ty, because I always talk about, astrology and how that could have a place or an effect on people's whereabouts, what they're doing in their life, something they're working through, and as also just my love for the physical body work and energy work. And Ty is an astrologer and also does the same body work that I do. So yeah, there were a lot of similarities.
That sounds pretty sexy.
It's all too
the body work experts, one meets the other. That ought to be interesting.
Well, that's actually was the first contact, was to try to do a trade. So we both do Thai massage, and we were, the funny thing about body workers is we never get work done on ourselves. We're always serving others, but we need the work just as much as anyone else. And we both got into the work because of how just beautifully healing it is on many levels. Again, this is before us even knowing each other, right? So we had that commonality of what we were intrigued by. So we were going to trade massages, and that did eventually happen. So that was kind of what initially connected us, was that similarity for the love of Thai massage.
Okay, well, this is PG-17, so just.
I'm sure.
Well, we did live right down the street from each other, and she walked to this park I live by every day, and we never met. We never crossed paths.
Yeah. So I moved to a little side street by the stupa that's here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are familiar with just how special and unique that was. And when I first arrived, you know, I was going through it just like anyone else. You have to start from scratch yet again, which I love that challenge, but it is a process. And so I just started walking from my house to the stupa to have a hiking meditation daily to stay grounded. And I was walking by his house every day.
Well, I lived on the corner. That
Really?
house, I lived in that corner house by the stupa for 2 years.
The corner house.
The
Yeah.
corner house, the only corner house, right?
I know exactly what you're talking
Pueblo.
Pueblo and Andante.
Mhm.
I lived there, a good 2.5 years.
And then within not even, well, maybe a little over a year or so, when we did finally meet, I was, you know, we would spend a lot of our first conversations over a bonfire and just watching all these UFOs work.
Where was this at?
This is at the
Chimney.
corner house. So it's
Oh,
chimney,
at his house. Okay.
a lot around chimney and
So
thunder.
how did it, when was the first time you laid eyes on each other?
Okay, so the massage story, right? I needed a massage, but the whole story is I hurt my back and she wouldn't work on me because, you know, all therapists know when somebody hurts their back, you don't want to be responsible for that reality. So she put me off for that one, just saying. Okay.
So you met her by looking for a massage? Is that how it happened?
We met through mutual friends, but we didn't
Okay.
actually meet for almost 3 months.
Mhm.
And actually, she blew me off for the massage. She sent me her astrology chart, which was a real mine. You know what?
Well, I needed to give him something to work with since I wasn't really
You sent him your astrology chart or
Oh,
his?
yeah.
knowing that he was an astrologer. I sent him my chart and be like, why don't you just take a look at this before you want to get into anything? I want you to see what you're going to be dealing with,
Uh-huh.
which is smart to do, you know, because
Yeah. Unless you're,
Scorpio, we're pretty intense.
Well,
this is,
the
yeah.
chart and its connection was ridiculous.
So-
Okay.
I was gonna- Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, this is like a high level, higher self chess game.
That's
where
right.
the humans aren't even like clued in for a while. Like, so you sent him the astrology,
Yeah.
you read it. And of course you're well versed too. So you knew something was going on.
Well, I didn't read it so much. It was more so for him. And of course he did the compatibility chart right away. This is all without me necessarily knowing any of it. And I mean, he can speak about that if he wants. I don't know. I'm sure it was a little scary.
It happened within minutes after she sent me the information. Just
I
saying.
probably knew that was going to happen.
I'm an astrologer. This is what we do.
Yeah, but this is a realistic way to see if you're compatible with someone, really.
But I mean, you were at this time looking at letting him get an idea of the compatibility as
Yeah,
a
just a little bit.
professional masseuse to client, not as a, or were you already?
No, we hadn't even met face to face yet. So it was more just friend to friend. And, you know, I know that you're an astrologer. Here's my chart, you know, have fun with that. And then he ended up having a party on 4th of July in 2016.
Yep.
And Spirit told you to invite that girl.
Well, that morning I was cooking on the grill and my ancestors kept saying, invite that girl. And I'm like, what girl? And because I blew her off completely because, you know, the chart was amazing, but she won't meet me in person. I know better to invest in something that's illusionary. I'm a Pisces. And I'm professional at investing in illusionary things.
When's your birthday?
March 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Morgan's March 10th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And very ironically, he actually has the same exact birthday as my dad.
Oh,
So
you guys were effed from the beginning.
I mean, pretty much, you know, I mean, of course we can say these things are coincidences, but when he
Yeah.
told me that, you know, my jaw pretty much hit the floor. I don't know. It's just, a
So
lot-
he,
yeah.
so he's cooking. The ancestors are telling him invite that girl. He's like, which one? And they're about to hit him with the universal 2x4. I have a feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent her a text message and she shows up at the party.
Yeah.
And I was in a dead cover band and the whole band was there and the drummer in the band, he he zeroed in on her instantly when she got there. So I was like, okay.
I was new to Sedona, so it's a small town. I guess I was, the new kid on the block. So
It must have been that Illinois Midwestern scent. They hadn't had a whiff of.
yeah, the derriere. That's right.
The derriere.
Derriere.
So the drummer starts going after her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I play it cool.
Yeah.
I play it cool,
Ty's just so polite, and he knows when to hold back, and just to hold space, and he's such a gentleman. So
yeah.
We didn't really date until I saw her at a party. I was going into a party or leaving a party, and she was in her car, and she said the wrong thing to me. And then I said, "What you doing later?"
Yeah, it was just a couple months later, again.
So nothing happens that night. You're aware of her, and you've now seen her. You've seen each other.
Yeah.
And the drummer's trying to pursue her. And then 2 months go by, you're walking in or out of a party, and she's in her car. What did she say to you?
She says, "Hey, you look good." And I said, "What'd you say?"
Yeah. So that's.
You did?
I said, "What?"
You said, "Hey, you look good."
How you doing, Ty? I said, "You looking good." And so see the difference though? This is how when women show the signs.
Yeah,
right?
with the inflection and
Read the signs, read the body languages. I'd let him know when I wasn't ready, and I was still, clearing up what I needed to clear up on my end. Then when I had the chance to see him again, I was more available. So that, and I was interested. So that showed in my words, it showed in my body language. And it's really just that simple. Just pay attention, right, to what people are telling us non-verbally.
And then we actually really dated. We didn't, jump into anything.
Yeah. So that was nice too, just to take a really slow kind of courting, dating.
this was in 2016.
Correct.
God, y'all been together going on 6 years then.
Yeah. Going into the 6th year. That's right.
Wow.
I know. And it's gone by fast, but again, it's also parallel with my new life in Sedona. So it's really sweet in that way, that we're sharing that.
Well, you didn't tell Todd why you moved to Sedona. Who told you to move to Sedona?
Yeah. So speaking of ancestors, so I've been listening to spirit and intrigued by the non-physical world for as long as I can remember. And so I definitely get readings from clairvoyants, astrologers. Anytime I need some clarity in my life, usually about once a year, I'll get a profound reading from a professional. And so I needed some clarity as to where I wanted to move to and restart my life yet again. As a Scorpio, I love that. I love the death and the rebirth of life. So I was ready for this again, and at a new level, a new spiritual and energetic level. I wanted to move to a place that was more like-minded. So talking about energy, talking about frequency, acknowledging the importance of traditions of our ancestors and keeping that alive. And Sedona came up on my radar. So I had a reading done by a medium, and my grandmother came in, my mother's mother. And she told me to get my ass to Sedona, Arizona. I couldn't believe it. And I was elated and excited because it was already on my radar. And then to have my grandmother chime in and say this, and from the other side. And
are you Bohemian, by the way? I never asked you. Are you like,
I don't know what that means.
or like gypsy, like, it's not really a particular part of the world. I mean, it's more of a lineage.
Your ancestry. So
your ancestry.
Yeah, it's Polish, Italian, and Scottish is my ancestry.
Tell him what day you're born on.
Okay, right. So I am born on October 31st.
And you have how many grandmothers born on the same day?
I have 2 grandmothers. So going over to my father's side, my Italian side, his mother, my grandmother Clara, was born on October 31st, and her mother, so my great grandmother, was also born on that day. So that day is,
that's what I meant.
Special. Yeah.
I could have said it a different way, but that's what I meant.
Yeah. So, there's something there,
So you're getting to go to Sedona. That was how you ended up. Yeah.
Yes. And she said, everything you need is there. things will fall into place, which, when you're trying to start your life, that's comforting to hear, right? Because there's always a risk. I moved out here not knowing anyone on purpose, not really having any work lined up. I wanted to prove to myself and to the universe, which is one and the same, that I've got this and I have complete trust. And I have complete trust in myself and complete trust in the universe. So I moved out here not knowing anyone. But yes, my grandmother on the other side, when that message was coming through, she said, you'll find work, you'll find the love of your life, and everything will fall into place. So that was enough for me to set sail and come out here on my own onto this new adventure.
Not to mention you end up in the best residence in all of Sedona, which is just mind blowing. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So, and it's so crazy because it's all of it's not by, I mean, you guys have, first of all, you have one of the best quality retail / office spaces in all of Sedona.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you couldn't make that up. There's no way.
It's a
And
great.
then you have this place that you live, which is basically a boatload of acreage at your disposal. That's like your yard.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Not to
It
mention
is. So, when people say when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, things fall into place. There should be ease and grace when you're on your path. And not to say that there wasn't the first year of what I would call hazing. I mean, I must say, well,
What's
like,
that? Did he have you like doing like crazy little rituals and stuff?
It was more so Sedona. Think of Sedona as like a sorority.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I was so excited to be here. I kept going to all these public functions just to meet the new community. And, that's all you want to do is once you move to a new place, you want to get integrated and, okay, where's my friends? Where's my family? Where's my soul family? And so I was meeting all these people saying how I just moved here. And almost everyone said, well, Sedona will either embrace you and take you in or spit you out. And, I can agree with that. It definitely puts you through a bunch of tests. And I got through that part of it almost immediately. That was the first couple of months of moving here was really quite intense with some certain challenges I had to work through. But then, then it's like once you do the test, then you're gifted. And so I was blessed to be invited to live on some really beautiful organic property. And, it's those types of things that affirm that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, okay, so you guys finally went on a date after you hit him up, which was really smooth, right? And then how, so that was the middle of 2016. How long before y'all moved in together or even professionally moved in together?
Well, we moved in together in 2020, home-wise. We kept our separate apartments for a while and really worked with that, which was really great.
Yeah, I really embraced that. So it gave us a chance to, like I said, just take our time.
Wow.
In the beginning, which felt like one of the most mature starts of relationships that I've ever had, right? Usually people will just be physically attracted and go at it super fast and then kind of retrace their steps getting to know someone. But when we really got to know each other first and really formed a solid friendship first.
Yeah.
And I thought I really appreciated that. It was
so instead of rabbits, you were like turtles.
That's right.
Well, we're water signs. So let's say I'm sure both of us have done things way too fast before.
Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty, you're talking about 3.5 years that
right.
you lived in your own place and obviously, yeah. I mean,
well, we were both in really small places. And in 2020, the place that you visited, that became available. And
I didn't know that.
I knew for a long time that place was going to become available, or it was another place. She never believed me, but it did happen. And there were some issues, but we made it through it. We moved into the office here, same time, actually. 2020, we remodeled the other.
So you moved into the office together at the same time you got the place.
Correct.
Actually, I had one side of it already.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, for the last what, 3 years?
Mhm.
And then we got the rest of it together.
Yeah, so Ty's really laid the groundwork because he did arrive to Sedona a year before me. And, he just put in that work, letting people know, put the flag in, I'm here to serve.
Mm.
And he really was patient and did what he had to do in order to get the space. And that's kind of what I mean. When you move to a new place, it's especially a small town, it takes time. It takes time to get integrated. And it's hard because, we have so many skills that we've cultivated over the years and you just want to get started immediately. But there's always going to be a process time. And so it's nice to finally be here at that time. And so he, had earned the work to find this place and to be here. I'm the one that moved in 2020. And yes, we also started to live together in 2020. So January of 2020 was a really huge transformational month.
That's pretty cool. That's like COVID babies or COVID.
Excuse me.
Well, and sitting behind the gongs here, we had Yen Zeiger here, in Sedona. He started the Planetary Gong series, and Serena was taking a class with him.
Uh-huh.
Happened, and he stayed with us for almost a month after that.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
got to basically train with the master gongist of the world.
That's what the pandemic did for Serena.
See, this is like, this is how it is supposed to be, people. You
know.
you take your time. You don't wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You take your time. You come together. Your business comes together. Your residence comes together, and a shaman moves in with you,
Mhm.
and that's how you baptize your. No, I'm just being funny, but
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's classic. So, because a lot of people are talking about the energetic separations,
Mm.
or maybe another way to put it would be the importance of maintaining your personal energy field.
Ah,
Mhm.
That's
so
maybe
important.
another way to put it. But I mean, like obviously, like Morgan and I are on different parts of the world, but I'm talking to people every day, and like we had one couple on, and they were living together for a while, and then he moved out. They're still together, but he needed his own place for a while,
Right.
And they were in agreement with it.
Yeah.
So, but you guys did it up front.
Yes, we did. And I'm glad you brought that up because I absolutely agree that that is a huge point of success for a relationship. To be a whole person to the best of your ability before you get into a relationship.
Yeah.
Again, a very mature kind of thought process or idea. Ty and I had both had our relationships, our other relationships, the previous ones that have taught us those heartaches and those lessons. But because of the people that we are, we learned from that and we grew from that. So we were already happy and content people in our
Right.
wholeness. And so now we are sharing our wholeness, our individual wholeness together.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that's what creates a successful relationship. But it takes time, in your 20s and 30s, you don't necessarily know that yet. You don't understand how important it is to have your alone time, your girl time, your boy time, your apart time. It's
Well, that takes care of all the, all the byproducts of insecurity,
Mhm.
and I mean, we all have gone through it. It just depends on when you go through it and all that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Any babies on the way?
Oh, no. Maybe some dragon babies out
Do
there.
you have the same philosophy we do? No pets, no kids. No pets, no
Maybe
kids.
some fur babies in the future. I love
Yeah.
animals, but
Well, the 5D reality is kind of our baby.
yeah.
That's where I was going to go with it. I mean, and I don't want this to sound wrong, and I think you'll get it. I want everyone to get it.
Right.
But like, because of what you said, I mean, you're already whole. There was a lot of forethought. You had the energetic, you had your own space for 3+ years. And then of course you have all the synchronicities that, oh yeah, you're on the right track because everything just fell into place in the middle of the beginning of this huge distortion called COVID and all that crap.
Mhm.
I get the impression that one way or another, a big part of your relationship is non-physical. And I don't mean that you don't have a physical relationship. I just mean that you, in your own right, are very plugged into what we might call the non-physical, and then as a couple,
Right.
I would think that would carry over. I think that's not brand new territory, but I think it's pretty new territory for people.
Right. And I think it's good to talk about that. Yeah, we absolutely talk to each other non-verbally. There's probably more of an understanding because, what I've been dealing with lately is like this language and labels. And I understand that we have to communicate with one another through a language and labels. But as soon as we start to label something and do that, we're already putting limits and restrictions on what that means. So, to be able to share energy and the energy of love in a non-verbal way, there's so much more understanding. There's so much more comprehension. If Ty and I ever get in a little fight, which happens from time to time, we're a normal couple, he just says, "Can you feel me?" Because the words get muffled and we get flustered and the words aren't making sense. And you start to, and then in that space, you say something and then the other person's attacking the words that you said. And it's like,
of course,
the words aren't doing justice as how I'm.
You end up having this big tug of war on the superficial, which isn't even what's beneath it.
It's just even more frustrating. So to just have the non-physical feelings start to mesh, just like, oh yeah, we're
so
actually on the same page.
Yeah. So he or one of you says, "Can you feel me?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like what is it when people like they go to a party and they're like, "Here's the safe word." Like if I start to do something, but like it's almost like a command, not a command, but like I don't mean like I mean like abracadabra, like hey, let's. That's what I meant by the non-physical. Like you were that. I just get the impression that you're not going to let the physical rule and dominate.
Yeah. Because our perspectives are, even though we have so much in common with like the real important things in life, morals, truths, how we think all of this works together, the universe and the multiverses, we have so much in common. We also have a lot of different perspective as well, and a lot of ways that we choose to vocalize it or verbalize it. So that's where sometimes we get clashing. But from my perspective, at the end of the day, we're actually always pretty much saying almost the same thing, just with a different language. And so if I can just give him a big hug and put my heart to his heart, it all just dissolves.
When and can you do that when you're triggered? Are you able to do that, or do you got to take a breath? Or
we absolutely have to take a breath.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm usually the one that gets soft before he does. I
can't even see Ty.
It's rare. It's very rare, except when he's driving.
Well, that's because he's from Texas. In Texas, you have to.
We just had a road trip and I was like, this is the only place that he loses patience is in the car. And that's okay. We're all allowed that.
I'm trying to think. I have never seen him. There's been 2 times I've seen him where I knew he was not good.
Right.
But nobody would have ever known that. I knew it because we were having a conversation and I just knew him. Mm-hmm. He never said a word to me. A few days later, it was confirmed, but but I've never seen him. I can't imagine him, but he is from Texas, and I can understand.
So let's ask Ty, how do you do that? How do you stay cool as a cucumber?
Well, I haven't always been as cool as a cucumber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as I've known you, though, you have been.
Well, that's true. I did get some good advice before I moved to Sedona, and it said, "Don't move here to develop yourself. Move here ready to work."
Yeah.
So I like that advice. I thought it was very good advice. But from what it is to live as a warrior and to live from what you care about, is to face all the concerns. And I find that a lot of the conversations I would bring out into the open and past relationships are conversations that I just have inside. And most of it gets resolved in here way before it ever enters in here. And she may feel what I'm working through, but it's not like I have to create a space of self-importance or look to her for my happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah.
That
like
is so key, is not relying just not relying on the other person to make us happy. That comes back to just already being a whole and a comprehension of how the true happiness comes within yourself.
Yeah.
And our connection to our source.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's like it's projection.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's like you're not putting a ball into motion that doesn't need to be put into motion. Because I
Right.
mean, if you think about our past relationships, you do that. You
Right.
find something to either gain some TLC or to pitch a bitch. You know, I mean, you know what I mean?
I
And
do.
so you're just saying that
Well,
you
it's
kind of have a triad relationship with Sedona too. That's the thing. I've been there 7 times, and I've met couples,
Mhm,
but I've only met 2 long-term couples
mhm.
that I can think of, maybe 3. All right. But I'm sure about you and one other one that seem to have that the third partner is Sedona.
That's
Like,
right.
you know,
And it's hard not to think that this was predestined, because we're the same age for the most part. We were born the same year.
We're dragons.
We're fire
you're
dragons
dragons.
in the
You-
Chinese zodiac. We're fire dragons.
Mhm.
It's fire dragons, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh goodness,
Mhm,
yes,
mhm.
fire dragons. And we arrived to Arizona at the same time. So there's something that feels very confirmed, that we did decide to come here and unite at a time in our life that we were ready to raise the frequency of the planet and the humanity that lives on this planet.
Well,
Mhm.
I dare the universe to show me that shit's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got balls like I do, but it doesn't always work out well.
Mhm.
I mean, you get the answer, but sometimes it comes a little rough.
Well, I did that like 20 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
That is really sweet. I do remember him saying that, he asked the universe for me.
Yeah.
He put out, this is what I'm looking for in a partner.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't necessarily do that, I'm sure subconsciously, I knew what I was desiring, and in a life partner as well.
Yeah.
And it's a type of stuff, like I never thought this type of love or relationship existed. At my age, I came to Sedona late, a little later in my life, and I just gave up. Really, I just didn't think there was going to ever be someone out there that was on the same, we call it the wavelength vibe, whatever. But man, Ty is definitely the closest match to my frequency.
I'm still trying to get past the him walking by into the party, and you're like, "Hey, Ty, you look good today." I'm like, "Whoa."
I know. I tell him all the time that he likes to live dangerously.
True.
I was going to ask you something. I can't remember now. Damn it! I'll remember back in a minute. My head's starting to clear.
Oh, good.
I was going to ask you something where I already know the answer.
Okay.
But I can't quite remember what it is right now. So I don't know. Yeah, there does. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, so because you mentioned predetermined,
Yeah, destiny.
I mean, and I'm not saying I'm right or you're wrong or anyone's right or wrong. I'm just saying that to me, it always feels like it's kind of here's the plan. You've got free will. Good luck, kind of thing, right?
Yes.
But there is, as I talk to couples, and then I know in my own experience with Morgan, that there's a lot of evidence, not just of the things that occur during this shared incarnation, but through one or both past memories or recollection or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, even some pretty prolific occurrences, including morphine, apparitions, other beings, and so on, that have occurred many, many times with us in this incarnation, we don't really focus on anything that's occurred. It's like all that stuff is great, but when it gets right down to it, when you wake up every morning, it's all about right now, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys could elaborate on that and how that applies, because I have a feeling that you don't really look back as well?
Well, we have to live in the moment here, because there's really nothing else. But when you were talking, it really hit me when I look at a composite chart of a couple's relationship and I see a balance of tension and harmony. Is where it really begins to work. And we actually, in our composite chart, we have this dance of harmonious things and tension. Even within the harmonious things, there's this energy of tension. And I always say that she's at least 20-something% pissed off at me, which is kind of normal in that tension realm. And
well, hang on a second. That actually resonates a lot.
Yeah, I bet it does.
No, but and I know he doesn't mean it.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't mean it like just at face value. There's something deep there.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of where my thought was going. Like,
Okay.
This whole you could call it telepathy or intuition. Okay. Continue what you're saying, and I guess the question maybe to answer in the way is, do you have to explain every last detail, or is a lot of it understood, that 20%?
I don't think we can explain every detail, because that's where the communication begins to break down.
Okay.
That it's more vibrational.
Yeah. And no, that's really important, because I know, like, since we've been apart, we've noticed not like a cycle, but it's kind of obvious when and it's okay. We're like, say one of us is not in alignment or whatever, like she says a lot, if I'm not always in alignment, how can my relationship always be in alignment? So there's just, and there's nothing bad. It's just that, this has happened again. And it's not like, we don't need to assess blame here. It's just, this is just, a period of being alone, or energetic, divide or something like that.
And it's interesting, because when you're saying not in alignment, I think you're referring to as a couple. But really, what I think is happening, if that happens with us, it's because I'm not in alignment with myself and with my connection to source, or vice versa. So it might feel as though it's because of him, just because he's the closest person that I can project and blame that on.
No, I get you.
But I know that it's me. I'm the one funky. And
I totally get you. Yeah.
Yeah. I need a little space. I might be a little emotional, but
like, go to the studio.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's nice to have a place to, get away.
Go play with your toys.
No, but it's never them, always me kind of thing.
That's right.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
When we visited, I had mentioned that, kind of the mantra I've had for the last couple of years, since life has been so intense outwardly, is I'm just taking relentless responsibility for my emotions,
right,
my thoughts, my happiness, my everything. That's what I can do in this world crisis that's going on, is to work on myself and be a better person. And that's just going to make my relationship with Ty better and stronger, all of my relationships better and stronger. And also knowing that when I do that, I'm doing my part for humanity as well, so that we light things up. I'm not going to be the one that's going to dim humanity down, but I'm going to, plug into it and light it up. So
it is very profound. Like, the thoughts in my head, like, treat humanity like you treat your partner.
Yeah, man.
Like, function as you function with humanity, as you function with your partner, which is self-responsibility. Right. Yeah.
Well, in the creational realm, we're all creating the new fifth dimensional reality. So we have to create the model for relationships. We have to create the model for how we want to exist beyond polarity.
And yes, I will agree with you, Todd. So it is similar, your partner, humanity, one and the same. How I visualize the way things work is like our solar system is just like hurling through space, never going back. So we are constantly evolving. We are constantly expanding. This is how consciousness and evolution happens. Same thing within a relationship. But in order to grow, there has to be a catalyst. And that catalyst is usually a suffering of some form. So this is where the tension comes in.
Yeah.
Tension and, having little arguments or situations where we have to kind of understand each other at a deeper level is only going to make us stronger and help us grow. If it was just complacent and mediocre, like, neither of us can handle anything mediocre at all. Like, this is just not, we came here to like play and have fun. And,
No wonder y'all live out there in that remote place so you don't bother anybody with all the noise going on in the house.
we just tap into the excitement of life, but it is a tug of war, and there is tension because that's the only thing that will, when I don't feel good, if something feels funky within me, I have to do whatever I can within myself to work through that. And so, I'm going to pull him along with me and we're going to go do that together. So I think it's the same thing for humanity. We've obviously have had many issues, many triggers in the last couple of years, specifically that is helping us grow as an individual.
Yeah. Well, I just meant like, it's more, I think it's more doable because it's been more of a part of our life to learn to own up and to learn to take responsibility, to not externalize, in a relationship as it grows. But given the circumstances of the world, it's a lot easier to go, oh, that's the politician's fault, or that's the Illuminati's fault, but like what I heard from you was, this is what I do. This is the core of my life, me and Ty, our work. And so like everything's kind of replicated off of how you handle the closest circles in your life, right?
Yeah, it's like you're saying, it's how we internalize, right? So there's a lot of outside forces that we don't have control over. And there's really not much we can do with some of these outside issues of life. All I can do is continue to go inward and how I respond or react or be affected by those situations. That's what I can do.
Yeah.
Yes. What can you do?
And y'all don't have any interruptions. The only interruptions you have out there are coyotes and maybe a mountain lion now and then, I would think.
Oh, I tell you, we are in such a peaceful land here.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's the only green place I've ever seen in Sedona.
Right?
It's green.
I know.
And it has its own pond with all these beans, by the way, I might add. There's all these beans out there.
Goodness.
Yeah.
It is a galactic place. I mean, and it's so cool to see something so natural, organic, trees, orchards, the creek, but then to have our ETs there, we've seen a handful.
Well, you have like a giant landing strip right in your backyard.
I mean, yeah.
There is a pyramid carved in the creek by the native people. I'll show you sometime. And there's some petroglyphs also hidden back there.
Really?
But you can tell that they considered that property very sacred.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trip, Todd, is going back to that medium that I spoke with. She was tapping into one of my spirit guides, and she said one of my spirit guides was an elder Native American man. And she said, this is the time. They're saying this is the time that you go back to Sedona because you've lived there many lifetimes. She said, you've been a doctor, you've been nurses there. And ironically, at this modern day and age, she said, this is the time for you to do shaman work. So that's why I'm so comfortable here and I resonate with it. And I feel like I should be here. You know what I mean? When you go somewhere and it just feels great. You feel like you're home. And so I don't know. I mean, this is obviously someone else telling me something. So I don't know. All I can do is put it against my heart of discernment and see, but it is very interesting. But, so then the way my inquisitive mind goes is, was I one of those people in another lifetime that put the petroglyphs in the rock? Do you know what I mean? It's like you wonder.
Yeah, you probably did it when you were a 6-year-old girl with your 6-year-old little boyfriend.
I know, right?
Named Taradinsky.
It's just, and I don't know. And I definitely let my mind fantasize about things like that. But that's what entertains me, and that's what kind of keeps it going is the mystery of it.
So I would imagine that there's times when you're together, without intention and maybe with intention occasionally, like, some kind of ritualistic format would not to get too carried away with the semantics, but I would imagine there's times when your combined frequency, which we could just call divine love. I mean, none of these words, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like where it's so palpable and it's so thick.
Yeah.
That things kind of happen, like things just kind of weird stuff, or supernatural stuff or exquisite, ecstatic stuff happens.
Uh-oh.
Does that happen?
Am I blushing?
Yeah.
Well, I do know that
I've never seen him like that before.
like there's powers and numbers, like what I can do versus what a group of us can do. So I definitely feel very powerful. I know Ty is very powerful, but yes, when we are in each other's presence, we allow that our internal frequencies to kind of merge and then emanate. Anyone who's around feels that, and it just feels like a big Buddha loving lap to sit in.
Yeah.
It's just like what I say about the Sedona Red Rocks, they just kind of hug you in. And so, we definitely are just
it's kind of like that night we were on the back patio with Franco and Kimberly and the others, and it was just like,
I'm so grateful for that time that we shared. Because I was elated. I was buzzing being
y'all remind me of them. I
Yeah.
told y'all that then, but yeah, I mean, but I get what you're saying. Like it's not necessarily always going to be like beings coming in the room or like some stuff. It's actually just the atmosphere that you're holding. It's like the atmosphere that somebody can experience being there.
That's right. And it's almost like an activation too. It's just like when, two energetic beings come together, what can that create? I mean, there's no limit to that.
Yeah.
But what's wonderful, it's just so natural. Like we don't even have to talk about it. Do
y'all ever like wake up or get a phone call from the other one? You're like, holy shit, you're not going to believe what happened. I was in a lucid dream and you came in and you had a purple wizard hat on with stars on it and a big wand. And, I don't know. I mean, do you ever or has it become just a natural, huh?
That's usually me, Todd, having all those visions and stuff.
That's what I was going to say. Or is it just a natural, a natural rhythm of your life?
Well, if I don't want her to roll her eyes at me multiple times a day, then it functions more in the natural rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are physically connected. I think the other morning she had a stomach issue and I was at breakfast wondering why my stomach was all messed up.
Yeah, we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely been that physical. Something else happened years ago where I was driving home from my other job at that time and I was doubled over in pain. I didn't think I was going to make it home driving. I had such severe cramping, and it turned out to be a non-physical entity trying to, I don't know what. So I thought that I felt like I was dying. It was that kind of pain. I'm sure that's a little dramatic, but I didn't know what was up. And without me even calling him, because I didn't have the energy to call him, I literally got out of the car and like had to army crawl to my front door just to make it in and like drink some water and start to settle down. And then eventually when we finally did talk to each other, what did you remember?
That was a long time ago, but I do remember it was this whole past life scenario, and it was like an attack.
Yeah, I was going to say
in this realm, but it something opened up in her akashics where she was literally processing it kinesthetically in this reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I tried to do in this lifetime, but he heard me. He heard me saying, I feel like I'm dying. Mm-hmm. So when I called him, finally, he was like, are you okay? Because I heard, I thought you were dying. And I'm like, well, I thought I was too, so.
God, that's like deep, man.
It is. So there
makes me want to cry and shit.
I know. So there is that
deep. I could feel like the whole experience.
Yeah. So that psychic feeling, that familiar, that commonality that we share.
So, I don't normally do this, but you guys are exceptions. And I don't care what people think anyway. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I meant that a lot of people go to Sedona, right? a lot of people in these communities go to Sedona, and you guys have, I guess you would call it a retail space / office space, which is like in itself a fairy tale frequency. But it's got a red door and it's facing the main street right across from Whole Foods.
Correct.
Like you can't ask for, not to mention they have like the best Thai food across the parking lot, anyway. But I just wanted to because a lot of people go to Sedona, and I actually, when people go to Sedona and they reach out to me, oh, I know you've been to Sedona, I always tell them the same thing: just go over there, and then just and I tell them a little bit. But can you just tell us like what's going on? Because I know you've had some changes. Like if somebody comes to Sedona and they want to pop in into your place, what's going on there? What do you guys offer and what are you doing?
So my original business before we opened the new spice here is called Sedona Sacred Sun, which is my shamanic practice and my astrology practice. And so people come for readings, people come and do the deep emotional work with the zero pointing, very similar to Morgan's work, and what I call light body evolution. So we work with that, private sessions, all of that. And then the newer office is the Quantum Resonance Institute, and that's quantumresonanceinstitute.com. And this is our sound healing experience. So we do shamanic sound. Serena does acoustic gong treatments with the 6 gongs. You can't see all of them, but the 6 gongs that are behind us here. And then we do sessions together, like this afternoon. In 30 minutes, we're doing a session together where she's playing the gongs and I'm playing all the brain waves and the deep music, similar to what you guys have heard on Soulogy before.
Yeah.
But, we're playing together more. And that's also where the psychic thing kind of shows up too. And I think Johnny Coyote played with us and he really commented on it, of how easy it was for them to play together. So here, sound healing, we're really pretty much a sound energy healing center. We don't sell any retail. I don't sell any crystals, but I do bless crystals and only Lemurian seed quartz. And we have a couple of those in there for the people that are coming in there to work on holding that frequency. So I wanted to keep the crystal element, but I didn't want to sell them. So my new bright idea is to bless them. And it's worked out pretty interesting because it's more of people's spiritual development.
Yeah.
I think that's real necessary and needed in the community because since everything is about the plant medicine now and not spiritual development.
Yeah.
We're going to have to return to really working on ourselves. And we've pushed this plant thing to a real intense level and it really hasn't evolved anybody. And that's what my teacher told me many years ago.
Yeah, it only takes you so far. Somebody asked me about that the other day. Would you do any? And I said, no, I wouldn't do. I don't feel the need to do any of it anymore. The door's already open.
That's right. That's right. And what it comes down to? It comes down to the understanding that frequency is where it's at, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a shout out to Nikola Tesla, right? He knew this. The Egyptians knew this. That's why pyramids exist. Toning through sound and energy is creating frequency. And if we want to evolve to 5D and beyond, and even if you don't want to use that limit, those terminologies, if we want to evolve, isn't it true we have to get rid of what's no longer serving us? Get rid of the baggage, get rid of any density that is holding us back from evolving. And so let's let the sound or the energy frequency do that work.
Yeah. Am I still here?
Yes. I think you froze just for a second.
Yeah. I saw the thing come up. Yeah, man, you're lit today, lady. But now you also do, I've just never heard you this expressive. I've had conversations with you even when y'all were here, which was cool. That was very cool.
I wish we had more time.
I know, man. We would have hit like the Mexican restaurant like 3 nights in a row.
I know that was.
But now you also have a room in there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So another passion, I mean, I've been a kinesthetic person my whole life. What that means is someone who moves the physical body. So just with the understanding that frequency, emotions, trauma can get stored. Is he still here?
No, he got cut off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got to come back.
But we may still be live. So you were talking about Pilates and working with the kinesthetics.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, so what really drives my passion for doing body work is to release blockages within the physical body. We can't hear him.
No, because he's not back yet, but it's still on.
You see how the volume says?
That's we don't want that volume. See, it's catching up to us right now. So
Are you there, Todd?
no, we're still live, but he's not.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see what he says. One moment.
He said he's sending it over. So is there a link you have to
I don't know.
see it right underneath?
No, that was before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're still live, yeah. So, oh, there's so many reasons why I love
There he
doing.
is. There he is.
I can't hear him yet.
You will.
Okay.
I guess if I turn my mic on, you can hear me.
Okay. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
So the Sedona stuff, man. Wow. Here we go again. Hey, I know you got a meeting and I got another show in 25 minutes, but I know you have a room there where
Yeah.
you have some equipment and you do some stuff as well.
Yes. Yeah. So that was just acknowledging and respecting that our emotions, maybe more specifically our trauma that we maybe hold in our body or lower density emotions. Well, if we don't do the what people call shadow work or just the inner work of looking at it through that emotion and forgiving it and releasing it, then it stores in our physical cells. And then when it stores in our physical cells, it brings us out of alignment. It brings our spine out of alignment. It tightens our muscles. It locks up joints. So it's just understanding that the body, mind, spirit this is what the human experience is about. So it's just yet one more way to access releasing what no longer serves us is through physicality.
Yeah.
And the Pilates method aligns the spine, which is where our Sushumna is, where all of our chakras are. So we want the spine in alignment so that, basically we're just antennas. We're antennas here ready to receive whatever download we need. And so our part in that is to be the best antenna that we can be, which is a tall, open spine.
And that's what that other
Yes.
room is really more addressing the physical blockages and just things like that. Yeah,
That's right.
I would translate it that she helps people return to their core value.
I like that.
that's a double entendre that works for me. Actually, that's a multifaceted entendre if you think about it. So before you get out of here, I don't want to get I have to ask you this question. Serena, what do you admire the most about Ty? What do you love the most about Ty?
Yeah, what I admire, wow, that's a tough one. There's so many things. His patience.
Yeah.
And his calm demeanor, because having 5 planets in Scorpio, I can be a little intense and get excited sometimes. And so his calmness grounds me and reminds me to stay playful and not take certain things too seriously.
Ty, it's on you now.
Uh-oh. Well, I really like her sassiness, Todd. I mean, I have problems.
No, I can totally relate.
Serena's the person that if she commits to showing up to something, then she shows up. And there's something authentic and real about that. And it's also, the heart can't really be conveyed through the intellect.
True.
When someone knows how to hold their heart space and live from what they care about, it's it's available to everybody.
Yeah.
And where they can meet that availability becomes the big question.
Yeah. You don't need a billboard or a neon sign. It just speaks for itself in the
Mhm.
moment. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a couple of great attributes to pull out of your hat, out of your multi-plumed hat.
Am I doing okay?
Both of you, yeah. So I love you guys.
Love
I'll hit you up later,
Okay.
Ty, and yeah, it was really cool. I'm like totally digging this. This was really awesome. I'm really happy that we captured this. So thanks for coming in and sharing and opening up. And I'll see you guys one way or the other. soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Todd.
All right. Thanks for having
Blessings.
us.
All right, man. Peace out.